Hi, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of what RG and I have been trying to plan for the last 6 months. We're
Yes.
welcome to what we call the 600 level. It's basically a Blue Jays dedicated pod. We're two massive Jays fans, two massive baseball fans. I think more importantly, I'm Jose Tabuada. In case you don't know who I am, this is RJ Stacy, another good friend of mine. We went together. We not grew up together. I wasn't gonna say we went to college together, had a great time, and then we became friends since. We also
College was so long ago that it feels like that, though.
It's been a long time. 2017 now. We're on what's it been, a 4 years now since all the 3 years since
Yeah.
all that. So
It's been a blur, though.
yeah,
That's the problem.
we've been friends since 2017. We do talk wrestling on another outlet on my other podcast called Under the Middle Rope, but RG and I have been speaking about it for a long time, saying that we want to do something baseball related because, like I said, we're big Jays fans, and I think if you're a Blue Jays fan as big as we are, you'll know that you've been having heart attacks, cardiac arrests, mental breakdowns with this team up and down throughout the entire season, and we start this up right when it gets interesting. Not that we did like again, we want to start this up weeks ago. We just either got lazy or I went away for a bit. But what a great time to come back because they're getting hot. They're
Exactly.
getting absolutely hot. Nine in the last 10 games, 9 out of the last 10 RWs on a 6-game winning streak. Of course, this past weekend, because a sweep against a crucial Oakland Athletics, who are now rapidly falling um, down the wildcard standings. Of course, which obviously we like to hear because they
Yeah.
lost to the White Sox again last night at the time of this recording, and now the Blue Jays are in the middle of a 4-game series against the New York Yankees. They already took the first two, so we're recording this on Wednesday the 8th, which means that tonight is game 3 of that 4-game series before they go to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. RJ, like I said, we've picked a good time to start this up, and I think we may have purposely done that because we want
Yeah.
to talk about something positive as opposed to something negative. RJ, your thoughts on what's been going on, let's say in the last week or so, before we get to the nitty gritty of the players.
Yeah, it was funny. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we definitely talked about starting this up, and then obviously some technical difficulties happened. The Blue Jays started losing, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, do we really want to?
No point in starting that
Really
up.
want to lead off with this like Toronto Blue Jays like just bitching about everything podcast? Like, now, let's start off when we're on a good foot here. Were we 9 in the
Exactly.
last 10? I totally thought the Jays were screwed 3 weeks ago. Like, I did not think they really had much of a chance at all. Who was a Baseball Reference or Fangraphs give them, 2%, 3% chance of making the playoffs?
Something like that,
And
yeah.
they're already back up to like 40, 50%. And it honestly feels like they're trending in a direction where I don't want to be, I don't want to be too optimistic and too much of a homer, but it feels like they can control their own fate here and make the playoffs if they really play well enough to do so, which they have. They got 4 games in hand on the Red Sox. They have 2 more games up against the Yankees here. They've already, went from 5, 6 games back to 2 games back, 2.5 games back of the Yankees now. And they have 6 more games against the Yankees coming up this season.
Yes, I will. I'll just take a look at that now. They have the 2 in this series, and then one more 3-game series.
So
Crucially,
five games left. Yeah.
yeah. So on the 28th to the 30th, like the second last series, that could not be weirdly scripted any better. I think RJ.
I mean, all you can really ask for is meaningful September baseball, right? Like,
For sure, of course.
coming into this season, you didn't really know what to expect out of this Jays team. Obviously, it's insanely talented roster. I was saying that I think that next year was kind of the year that we think that they're probably gonna be like a World Series contender. We could fight for the wild card spot, fight for the playoffs this year. Next year, we're a World Series contender, but like we're way ahead of schedule. It feels like, and then it looked like
I
the
think too far ahead to the point where
exactly.
it's suddenly. I don't know. I don't think it should, but it feels like if it's not a wild card berth because of how the amount of hot streaks that they've had patched throughout the season, that it would feel like a failure. It would
It
feel
it
like a
shouldn't though,
really.
but it does.
It will. I think it will because again the expectations are so high. Simeon has been running hot. I think he's passed his 40 home run mark, I believe now, is he not? Everybody on offense is clicking again. Robbie Ray, who we're going to talk about in a little bit later, just absolutely dominant on the mound. The starters are starting to come back as well. Like Steven Matz had a great outing last night, holding the Yankees to 1 run, which is what we needed. And I think he's been now, I think 3-1 in September, or like in those last few games. I have to take a look at the stats, and I guess I should have prepared better for the pilot episode. But I know guys like Steven
It's the
Match,
pilot.
like guys like Steven Match, guys like Ryu, they're stepping up now in crucial. Like it feels like August is now a completely different outlook. Obviously, the split against the White Sox hurt them a lot. Losing a series to the Tigers made absolutely no sense whatsoever. They lost from the 20 to the 22nd. That's just ridiculous. And now they just start to come back, and it's I don't know. And their schedule does favor to a certain extent. I think the Orioles coming up, which the Orioles can be a little bit sneaky as well. I know they gave the Yankees a bit of trouble for some odd reason.
Yep.
And then we have the Rays coming to Toronto next week, the 13th to the 15th. And, as much as we're thankful that the Rays are taking care of the Red Sox so far, we're next. It's like, oh God, oh no, that's not what we did. Twins, I'm not drastically worried, I don't think, but I feel like if you take out the Rays compared to the amount of games, I feel like it's a favorable schedule, especially since we're taking care of the Yankees. They did it earlier in the season, especially when we had guys like Julian Merriweather, who is now coming back any second. They were clicking in the first few weeks against the Yankees. The fact they have 5 games left kind of gives me a little bit of hope. Not a lot, but a little bit of hope. I think it just depends on how they handle themselves in the series against the Rays next week, if you agree with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough against the Rays. I talk crap about the Rays all the time, saying that this team has no business being as good as they are.
Hell no.
They just somehow do their thing over there. Kevin Cash, amazing manager. I know he made a mistake in quotations. I say mistake in quotations in the World Series last year when he took out Blake Snell. But I mean, this guy is a genius. I'm seeing intentional balks from this guy. What's going on over there?
I mean,
it's just next level, like analytical.
I don't want to say it nearly backfired, but it was the run
immediately scored.
No, exactly, it immediately scored, but I don't know. I just feel like I know people talk about when to use the bunt or when to shift the infielders or whatever, right? To me, I just look at an intentional balk and I'm going, I don't think it should be ever used in any situation whatsoever. I don't see a purpose in an intentional balk. But hey, Kevin Cash, they're leading the AL East for a reason. So maybe I know something
behind it.
It just makes no sense.
It's like you have to be in that like specific scenario in the game for starters. Plus, it like gives you like maybe like the most marginal advantage, because what he describes it as is when you got a runner on second base, he can steal signs. When you got a runner on third base, he's not going to steal signs. That's why he moved him over, because they were up by 2, and they got to put the free runner on base because it happened to be extra innings. I've been watching a lot of Rays lately because I want to see them beat up on everybody else.
It's funny. We talked about our college days, or one of our old coordinator of the program, Mr. Malcolm Kelly. I can't believe I'm giving him a shout out on episode 1. I tweeted it out like intentional block. What the heck? And he immediately replies, "Get better signs." I agree. I agree with the guy. I'm like, if you're really doing that, then I guess it's more on it's you have to get better signs. I just don't see how it doesn't work. Anyways, this is a Blue Jays podcast. I know about the
exactly. It's like the most marginal advantage, if any, and then the run scores. But yeah, they're gonna be tough to beat. Getting back onto the Blue Jays.
They're gonna be
I was getting at.
What's I have their standings here. They are
and they always just beat up on us. They're the worst, ugliest ways.
They're 7-3 when in their last 10 games. On the road, they're 43-25. They're nearly on par with home, which shows the consistency that the Rays have. And again, I am expecting a series loss against the Rays. That's the weird thing. I'm a guy that says I'm not looking for sweeps. Just win 2 out of 3 every time. Just win 2 out of 3. If you can win 2 out of 3, if you win the series, you're gonna be fine because the wins clearly outweigh the losses. You're not going to go perfect, and I haven't seen a season like what was it? The 86 or the 87 Tigers, 85, somewhere in the 80s. The Tigers going, what was it? It was like 25-5 or 30 and something. They had such a dominant April. They never looked back. That is so hard to replicate, and I don't think we'll see that again for a long. I don't think we've seen it in a while. I have to be a historian, I have to dig it up, but I'm not saying that's what the Jays need. They got to be damn close to that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you just win this, just win some series, and it's going to be okay. And like I said, you're having a lot of bats is finally clicking, and I think Marcus Semien is the first guy I want to talk about because obviously he's going to be such a big factor. But man, oh man, I think this is a perfect time to finally have an outlet to say, thank God we have Marcus Semien. And I've been saying this like in April, I was saying that like in the first 2 weeks of the season, I'm like, he needs to be resigned because he's gonna have a monster season. He's been killing it for me in one of my fantasy leagues.
Oh yeah.
Your thoughts on like how they should approach Simeon, I guess, or like what you think of Simeon?
So with Marcus Semien, I obviously want him to be extended. Like there's
Yeah,
no doubt in my mind. There's like some analytics that think he's getting a little lucky, but I mean, can't fluke 38 home runs. Like that's just not going to happen. And he's such an extreme kind of pull hitter that he hits a lot of home runs that just barely clear the fence, but that's fine. Like whatever. He's
yeah.
hitting them hard every time. He's always kind of been that guy in the past too that his batting numbers always are better than what the expected numbers are. So this is
Mm-hmm.
somebody who can continuously keep this up. Last year was the only bad year this guy's like ever had. Like this guy is a 5 WAR player like every single season. Came third in MVP voting 2 years ago. He's gonna come second
Yep,
or third this year to Vlad. Oh, and
yep.
Otani. He might even pass Vlad. He's got more WAR than Vlad this year. Like Semien is I've tried really hard not to be skeptical because I am such an analytic guy that I think that there is some element to it of getting a little lucky, but he's just so good that it has to be sustainable in some sort of way that I'm a little worried about paying him the truckload of money that he's going to get because it's likely that this is his best season ever, and you're now going to
Just
be paying in the future for something that he's already done for you for like $10 million.
Yeah,
But
just looking at his stats. Yeah, he's already has a career high home runs in seasons. Um, it's like our RBIs. What was his RB? 88. He's nearly his 2019 best. He's going to surpass it. He's
oh
going
yeah,
to
he's
easily
going to
crush it.
surpass everything.
He's very like just looking across the board. It's like he's taking fewer walks. He's taking a little bit more strikeouts, but again, I'll exclude the strikeouts if you're able to continue to match it like that. And I thought he was at 40. He's at 38 homers.
Yeah,
Like I said, again, he's nearing his doubles, his best, his 2019 best of 43 doubles. He's at 35 right now. He's making it work, and it's gonna be so steep that I am worried that any team that signs him, I feel like it may be an overpayment. I think he deserves it, but I know that Atkins and Shapiro are smart about it, and it kind of makes me wonder if they'll do it. I mean, my fantasy scenario is extend Simeon for whatever the hell he wants, and then trade Groshans. Trade Groshans, because I am okay with dealing prospects at this rate if we keep a guy like Simeon. If we're able to keep him, I say trade him and you continue to bolster the pitching that we need. And of course,
yes.
speaking of the pitching, then you have Robbie Ray. So, and
But
I think that's, I don't know if you have anything else to add on before we move on, but I think one of the topics of conversation that we wanted to have was this whole battle of the Cy Young that I don't think any of us could have predicted when the season started. Like I did not look at Robbie Ray and said that's going to be a potential Cy Young winner. Not at all. If anything, you could have said Ryu because it's Ryu,
yeah.
right? What a season! What a
Oh
freaking
yeah.
season for Robbie Ray, right?
So I think a good segue into Robbie Ray there is if it comes down to it at the end of the season, though, if you have to pick between Semien and Ray, who do you who do you choose? I'm
I
hoping
said,
you can bring them both back.
obviously,
Of
it's funny.
course.
I saw this question on Twitter. I saw this question on Twitter, and I said it's Simeon because he's just such a crucial, healthy balance to the lineup, especially I think on defense. Because even Bichette is nowhere close to a Gold Glover. As much as I hate to say that, I don't like having to hold my breath anytime I see Bichette field the ground ball. But anyway, I was saying Simeon at first, but now you see how it feels like it feels like the staff is thin on pitching for some odd reason. I know they've been doing well, but it still feels thin. I'm starting to come to terms that I don't think I ever want to see Pearson on the mound as a starter. I'm happy where he is now, and just to get him, he could be a potential starter. Don't get me wrong, but I think but because of how injury prone Pearson is, I'm worried that any extended longer period of like an inning or two is going to break the guy, which means that I think I would take Ray. I think I would unfortunately pay Ray. Oh, well, unfortunately, not unfortunately. Ray's amazing. Ray's been what's his ERA right now? ERA is at 260. Um, he's only allowed 3 homers this year. Really?
He
Oh,
is
sorry, no,
I think
25.
not.
Sorry,
Yeah,
25.
it's got to be
I
wrong.
misread. He hit 3
Yeah.
batters. Struck out 212, and his opponent's averages are 203. I think it's below the Mendoza line. It's
Yeah.
just so dominant, and
He's
you need that. I mean, for how consistent he's been lately, you need that in the rotation. Rios have been up and down. I know we have an extra year of Barrios, but of Jose Barrios, but even then, Barrios has been struck. He's had a few off days. I mean, again, he's consistent. Steven Matz, well, Steven Matz has had a pretty rough August, and now he's starting to bounce back at a crucial time. Ross Stripling, I think he wants out anyway. You can tell that he was like he didn't feel comfortable, and I don't know where the heck he's been. I guess the injury's still kicking his ass, huh? I
yeah,
haven't heard much of.
he's off the grid. He's lost his job completely, pretty much.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
he
So
when he comes back, he's bullpen depth, which is fine because if they do make the playoffs, they need that. And
they need
somebody
it
like Matt and somebody like Manoa is probably gonna get shoved into the pen when playoffs come around too.
exactly. And
So I mean, it's nice to have.
Manoa's an up and comer, and Manoa's been again absolutely killing it as well. So I don't see how I don't see where the rotation goes if you take Ray out. I don't,
Yeah,
and that's why I'm like
he'd need
I'm
to be
like
replaced.
and like I mean, and I saw there are some interesting names in the list of free agents next year for pitching. I think I saw Greinke. I think
Yep.
I saw Verlander, Kershaw.
Yep.
That's a name that we got to look out for as
Scherzer.
well. Scherzer, and I don't know, and I don't think the Blue Jays could like go that deep, but I think Robbie Ray would be a best example. And then
He's
you
the best
trade,
chance
and then
too.
you trade Groshans, like I said. Um, I still think Groshans is a big piece to trade, but I guess that depends if we keep Simeon or not. And if we don't, no, you have to hang on with him. You have no choice, and then take the gamble if he's going to be just as good as what Simeon did. It's a tough list to test, but I probably keep Robbie Ray. I
Yeah.
think this team's 2021 is all about pitching and how bad they struggled in finding their niche and finding their groove, especially the bullpen. So if we can get starters to help that bullpen depth with some of the prospects we have, I think I'll be fine.
It's just so hard to find good starting pitching too. Like even Robbie Ray was like this is by far the best season he's ever had. He's a completely new pitcher and I feel like he's gonna not take a discount with us, but I feel like he's gonna be more willing to re-sign because somebody like Pete Walker kind of helped fix him. And we
Yeah,
kind of found him as this like broken down kind of like high upside like left-hander and brought him on last season at the end of the year. He finished off strong. And then whatever Pete Walker, the Magic Man's been doing, has turned him into a literal Cy Young candidate. And he's not walking guys anymore. Like his walk rate is down like an insane amount from his entire career. And he still strikes guys out at the rate he's done his entire career. He's the career leader in strikeouts per 9 innings all time.
just to emphasize, your talking point about, where Robbie Ray has been and how big of an influence Pete Walker was since 2014. His lowest ERA was actually a 289. That was in 2017. Everything
Yep.
else has been above it. 393 in 2018, 434 in 2019. Before he got traded to Toronto, 784 in Arizona. I'm not going to count his first season. His ERA was 8-16. The point is, this is obviously the lowest he's ever been, and it goes to show you how crucial Pete Walker is. And if I was a guy like Robbie Ray, I mean, if I was in that position and I see that a pitching coach has helped me this much to bring down my ERA to its lowest it's ever been, I would probably say, you know what, I kind of want to keep holding on to you because I don't know what else the future can hold on to me,
Yeah.
and I don't know how. I mean, unless he says, you know what, thank you for the advice, for the tips. I'm going to take that somewhere else with better money. I hope not, but I don't see how you avoid that. You know what I mean? Like I don't see how you walk away from such an influence like that.
Well, we gotta offer him the money. That's how we keep him from walking away.
What do
Like
you think it's going to be?
so I've been kind of trying to throw my hat at this for the last little bit. It's gonna be more than Ryu signed for. No doubt in my mind, no question.
Ooh,
It's gonna
you
be more than
think?
Ryu signed for. Absolutely. Ryu was what, 36 when we signed him?
Yes. Oh, he's 29. Robbie
Ryu
Ray's
was very,
29.
very good when he signed him.
He turns
Robbie
30 next
Ray
month, by the way. Robbie
is
Ray turns
turning
30 next
30 next month. Zach Wheeler turned 30 last month. Zach Wheeler signed for, I think it was 5 years. Oh, what was it? 128 maybe. I'm probably gonna have to Google that and make sure I have that correct. But Zach Wheeler is right around kind of like that Robbie Ray sort of guy. Whereas he never really had that Cy Young caliber season yet, but he was a guy that had that potential and has been good in the past and has all the tools. Wheeler signs a big contract, and now he's in the Cy Young voting on the National League side.
Yeah.
So I could see him getting a little less than Zach Wheeler got, but more than Hyunjin Ryu got. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be over $100 million. It's going to be a lot of money.
I think that's right.
5,118 was Zach Wheeler. So let's take a look at the like 5.
Oh yeah,
110,
no, for sure. 54.
22
Yeah,
years, 22 million a year,
yeah.
5
Zach Wheeler.
110.
Yeah, like you said, Zach Wheeler signed on to 2024, 54 million. It's or seven, sorry, 74 in total. It's
Yeah. So he made 22.5 million a year. I'm saying it's going to be 5 years, $110 million. It's a lot of cash. It's $22 million a year, but he's going to deserve it. He's probably going to win Cy Young, which I know we want to get into too. But like, I don't know if he's going to probably win at this point, but I mean, if Cole is, we'll get into it. But
yeah.
if Robbie Ray is, he's going to make more than Hyunjin Ryu. I would be shocked if he didn't, just due to his age, the potential going forward. Even Hyunjin Ryu wasn't like, he was in the Cy Young voting, but he was never really going to win. In my opinion, he never doesn't have the fancy ass strikeout numbers. He doesn't have all that. He's always like been super solid. We knew there'd be a little bit of regression because of his age. Robbie Ray, obviously, he has those. Will he start walking people again randomly? Maybe that happens, but he seems like a completely new pitcher, and especially a left-handed pitcher. That's just hard to find, man. Like
Yeah, it's way
he's gonna get the Brinks truck backed up to the Robbie Ray Express. Like those tight pants, they can get even tighter with cash. Like I'll tell you that right now.
and I mean it's funny because like I mean if you look at let's say like the luxury tax, because obviously the luxury tax plays such a big role when you have teams like the Dodgers not giving a damn about the damn thing. They have the space for it. They do
Of
have
course they do.
the Jays are 17th. The Jays are 17th in the league in 46.2 million about in luxury tax space. Which again, it's possible. I mean, yeah, obviously, let's say you do like 22 million for one guy, and then 25 for Simeon. Or obviously, it's going to become very, very close. But I don't think, and I feel like management's protective about that in a sense, which is why maybe they've been held back. But again, you're not like the Dodgers who are minus $43 million,
yeah,
or the Red Sox in minus 3 million, or you could like maybe be like the Astros and push and hug the borderline with that 729,000. But the point is, they have the luxury tax to afford it. It's possible.
they could.
The question is, do they want to flirt with it? And that's why I think it's going to be one or the other. If it's both, I think we have to start our parade anyway.
I hope they really do. Like it's Rogers. They like if my phone bill's got to go up in order to sign both these guys. And I know that joke gets thrown around a lot, but I'm dead serious. If we got to pay just a little bit more money on our phone bills and our cable packages to watch a elite baseball team run it onto that field next year, because they are so close. If Semien leaves, that is a dagger. This is such a good baseball team, and I know they have good infield prospects coming up, like you said. But if they can bring on another infielder next year, if it's not Semien, if they can get a different infielder, then you can trade some of those other guys, go after Jose Ramirez, and then you can add to the third base part of your infield. This team could be so good if you could just bring Semien back or grab another infielder in free agency. Hopefully Semien though, because we know that's the hearts with Marcus Semien. But
I'm just taking a look at, let's say, infielders here, see what's going on.
There's
like
Carlos Correa. There is
Chris
Marcus
Bryant,
Semien. There's
Arenado,
Chris Bryant,
Freeman, Brandon Bell, Kyle Seager, Trevor Story, Corey Seager. The Seagers are up.
Seager's a good one too. Seager's another guy that I really like. But
it's and
Correa
which Seager, Kyle or Corey?
I'd prefer Corey.
There we go.
Yeah.
Javier Baez, Carlos Correa. There are a lot of interesting names in that perspective. And just to go back to the pitching, that I spoke about here. Until this updates, this is not going to update. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Sport Track. What kind of a website are you that doesn't update? I'm sorry. Zach Greinke, Trevor take that
Yeah,
name out of our list. Verlander, Kershaw, Scherzer, Cueto, a familiar face in Marcus Stroman.
yeah, that ship sailed.
No thanks.
He'd help.
Kevin
That ship sailed. That ship sailed.
Gausman, Corey Kluber. I mean, Pineda, Paxton, but I mean, of course,
Yeah.
Robbie Ray. There are names out there, but
Robbie Ray's the man.
he's the man.
He's
for
familiar. He's got a little bit of youth to him still. Like Max is old. Kershaw's old. This is a young team. He fits with the team. The team likes him. They've been promoting his Cy Young campaign with their T-shirts yesterday.
Yeah,
Wearing the Robbie Rance Pants T-shirts on the day that Cole pitches is absolutely hilarious.
and hey, I mean,
they want him back. I think Robbie Ray's back.
Do you think the injury to Cole last night may have been like the dagger for his Cy Young candidacy?
We're gonna have to see, because I did see that it's a hamstring injury. It's minor. I mean, I think he was just getting lit up by the Jays and didn't want to be on the field anymore. But it was nice to see the bats actually show up last night and try and help their boy out for sure, because it's obviously coming down to Ray and Cole at this point. Lance Lynn, I probably would have said was the favorite about a month ago, but he's fallen off and his analytic numbers aren't great, and he's hurt now. Rodon hasn't pitched enough innings. Cole and Ray are pretty much neck and neck at this point. So
I just want to,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just want to emphasize. I mean, Cole, like Garrett Cole, does have he has 5 more strikeouts than Robbie Ray at 217.
Yep.
Robbie Ray does have the better ERA. Robbie Ray's at 260, Garrett Cole at 278. But of course, everybody's favorite stat. I'm trying to look for that one. Yes, everybody's favorite stat, the WAR stat. Garrett Cole at 5.5 and Robbie Ray. I should probably have this.
Yeah, Fangraphs or Baseball Reference.
Yeah, I'm on Baseball. Right? And
it's
then,
Robbie Ray's got like 6.8. Robbie Ray leads the American League Baseball
Reference. It's 6.8.
I
mean, yeah. It's funny because obviously in the last few years, WAR became such a big stat that everybody was like, you got to look at the WAR. The WAR is your go-to stat for any award whatsoever. And if that was the case,
well, it's one of them.
It's one of them. Yeah. But if that was the case, then I would clearly give
it
to Robbie Ray. Yeah. I would absolutely give it to Robbie. Again, we are totally not a biased podcast, but it's. I think I don't know. I that's what I would do. I think I would give it to Robbie Ray. I mean, Garrett Cole pitched 158 innings. Robbie Ray 166, and again, still obviously again the injuries hurt, but I like I said, I do think the Robbie Ray edges enough. Maybe not by a lot, but I do think it's going to be. I do think I would give it to Robbie Ray at this rate, especially if the WAR holds up to close out the season. I think just before we wrap up here, if you have any other last points.
I just want one more point on that Cole versus Ray. I think before last night, I would have said Cole is still the favorite. Actually, I would have said before Ray's last start, Garrett Cole is probably the favorite. And then Ray, at 10 strikeouts, 6 2/3 shutout innings.
Yes.
Cole comes against the Jays last night, gives up 3-4 runs in 4 innings. Probably should have gave up even more than that, and then leaves the game with an injury. I'd say that Ray is probably starting to flip into the favor of a lot of people, because I know there's a lot of analytic guys on Twitter that say that Cole should be the winner. And then it comes down to saying, what's really more important, how you did or how the Nerds Basement thinks you should have done.
Yeah, and I think
I do think that there should be a mix of both. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to awards, who was better?
Who was better?
Who got a little luckier? Who got a little less lucky?
Exactly.
Who was better? And right now it's Robbie Ray.
And then of course you have the people that talk about like that really take the warning to heart, right? Like the most valuable player, right? And of course you look at the value stats, right? I mean, Robbie Ray nearly has
wins above replacement. There's your value stat right there.
There's your value. That's your value. Obviously, then there's like the nitty gritty, like wins above average, right? I mean, like it's like Robbie Ray is stronger, 5.4. Garrett Cole 4.2. I mean, and I go back to when Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown years ago. There were people saying it should have been Trout. It should have been Trout because he had the better WAR or whatever. And I'm like, but Miguel Cabrera just did what wasn't done in years. There's no way you don't award MVP to that. There's just no way. You have to give it to Miguel Cabrera. And I again, like if you're going based off value, just by looking at what we just quickly looked at right now, it's Robbie Ray. It's Robbie Ray. I mean, yeah, the strikeout stats are a little bit more for Garrett Cole. Now, obviously, we're going to see how it plays out towards the end in these last few weeks. But I just, if you take the word valuable to heart as opposed to, you know, who did better, then it's Robbie Ray. But, you know, I don't see how this plays out. Anyway, just before we go, because I think we're going to try doing this once a week. I think we're going to try our hardest to do this once a week. Obviously, you know, this was given that it was a pilot episode, we're all over the place because, you know,
I haven't flown a plane before. This is our first time.
Oh, right. You never
pilot episode. Never flown a plane.
Really?
No, you didn't think that was a funny joke, eh?
No, I know I did. I'm like, no, you've done pilot episodes. Like we did one together with Under the Middle Rope. With After the Count. Well, actually, no, it wasn't really my pilot because I knew what I was getting into. You were going into blind into what I was doing.
Yeah.
But and then you got the hang of it from there. But yeah, we're gonna try to do this once a week. Obviously, we're gonna come up with more structured structured topics, maybe 2 or 3 an episode. Because again, like I feel like we were just trying to play catch up. And so if this sounded a bit disorganized and all over the place,
it's because
we're not, because it was. Yeah. So we're sorry, but we're also somewhat not sorry. So if you still hold on to us after 31 minutes, thank you. But you know, we'll definitely have come more structure. But yes, I think there were just a lot that we needed to just like talk, like, you know, just get off our chests, you know, with what's been going on the last 5-6 months of the season here as we get down to the nitty gritty. Obviously, moving forward, I think we're going to specifically talk about, you know, in-game moments or stuff that happened, you know, like within the team and stuff like that, in-game moments, and then maybe, you know, there's outlooks and whatnot. But yeah, I think next episode is safe to say, like, you know, what's going to be the fallout of the series against Baltimore, of the series against what happened with the Yankees. So, and we're gonna try to find a more consistent date as well to do this, because obviously it is what it is here. But any final thoughts, RJ, before we wrap up this very jumbled up episode that we started?
I think we did fine.
I think we're okay.
I think
we're clear. We do like I think we do have our points. We just need to come together and, you know, figure out where we want to go. But we're on the right path.
Yeah,
we're honest about it.
We just
what do
need
you want
the
us to
Jays
do?
to keep winning, so I don't come in feeling blue.
Yeah. Oh, for the love of it, that was the name we tried to think we were thinking about here. And I'm hoping to go back next week. I can't believe that me being the big fan that I am has yet to go back to the Rogers Center since they returned. I'm dying to go back.
Man, I wanted to get back to, like, I haven't been back either, and I meant to go to one of those games. I think it was the one that Springer hit that big jack on. But I mean, that big comeback, and I didn't get to go because somebody bailed on
me. Oh, damn it. Yeah, I'm hoping to, like, I mean, obviously I'm free every night now, so I'm free every evening next week, right when they're home. So I may sneak in some back-to-backs. I hope. We'll see. But for now, I think we're gonna leave you here. Thank you for tuning into this pilot episode. Like I said, we're gonna hope to find our niche and then really hone it down as time goes on here. So he is RJ Stacy. I am Jose Taboada. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week. See ya.